Now, let's see how to connect to our microservice and retrieve and display some information. We're going to use this div in the HTML to inject our summary widget. Here's the area where we could add any styles. We're actually going to use this later. And here in the JavaScript is where we're initializing our application. So as we can see here, the summary widget has a property called summary store. This is something that we have to have with every widget in order for the widgets to be independent from one another in the case of whichever framework that we want to use and define that state management system, that state management pattern. So here we create an initialization and we create and define each of the components that we're going to use within it. In this case, we have summary app and defining our template, summary app template. In order to be integrated, we're going to use Axios, as we explained in the previous unit, as well as the mutations and actions in the store. In the case of Vue, at the time that the component is created, we have a hook that is called created, and there's where we begin initializing our data. This data initialization is done from the store, and we execute the action do data initialization. So this action, do data initialization, what it returns is a dispatch of everything we need to initialize. If we needed to obtain more data, not just information about the account, we could perform various dispatches here, put them inside of a promise, and this promise will return at the moment of the create hook here. In our case for this app, we're making a return from get accounts. And when this get accounts runs, it returns an Axios get request. So what are the parts of the argument, right? We have a client ID, we have the URL, and we're also including a couple of parameters so that we can filter by related accounts and by account types. Once this request is made, we can see up in our state and our account variable, which at the beginning is empty, and we fill it with this return data. So with this mutation called set accounts. So it modifies our state and we now have this account data available in our app. So where are we at currently? Inside a component summary app template, we need to make available some of the data from our accounts variable. Here inside of our computed property, which you can see returns this store state accounts. So let's see it. If we make a list of the accounts, we can make it such that here v4 account in accounts. Okay. And we'll make a list. And we're going to use our delimiter here. Actually, this is something pretty important. If your framework uses a delimiter similar to liquid markup, it's important to change it. In our case, we changed the delimiter for $mustache and then another mustache to close it. Everything that's inside is a reference to something else in Vue. So all of this is just to not confuse delimiters of different templating with the delimiters in Liquid. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's move on. So let's do account number. Okay, so here we have a list of the accounts with the account number. So let's see this in action. If we save here, we can jump into preview. Let me do a pop out. And so here we should have these 3 account numbers. So these are all being pulled from the accounts variable that we have. So let's look at this request actually. This is the request that was made for full account access. And here, let me resize this actually a little bit. It's kind of small. All right, and here's where we should be able to see our Axios requests. So let's look at accounts filter, and the response is right here. So we have all of this information available to us now, and we can even check it from the view inspector. And with this case, we're only using the account numbers in a list, but this type of data retrieval and display can be done for any service that we need.